wrap tends to be the one, the wrap near stitch marker A, tends to be the one where people have the most trouble. So when we get there, I'll show you a few tips and tricks for covering up any little imperfections and things like that. Like I say in the book, you know, 99% perfect is really great. If you want to be 100% perfect, well, that's absolutely lovely, and I think that's great. But get through the project, especially if you're a beginner and it's your first time knitting something like this. A lot of people who read the book have only ever knitted a hat or a scarf, and then they go on to knitting woolies, which is fantastic. And so, if you're not exactly perfect, that's okay, and there are some things you can do. In fact, if you really find you have an absolute and complete disaster and you want to keep going, there are even things you can do after you're done, such as duplicate stitching over any little imperfections. And hey, if they're for your own baby or a baby that you love and care about, you know what? That baby's so super cute anyway. It's going to look fantastic. They will appreciate it. Well, I'm just coming to the end here where I am at my stitch marker, which marks the beginning of the round. And you see when I get there, I'm going to have to deal with that wrap again. So I've come all the way around. And that's why this one's a little bit trickier, because there is a little bit more stuff to deal with there. So like I said, this is when I tweak a bit. This is when I say, pull a little bit extra tight, get that tension really super good, get that stitch marker over. And you see how that wrap is in there? It's nice and tight, and there's a potential to have a gap if you're not careful. So what I do, again, is the same exact technique. Might feel a little bit tighter this time. Go ahead and stick that slip stitch, or that stitch over your slip stitch. Your wrap goes over your slip stitch. Pull it over. At this point, I reverse the mount so that it's not twisted, because I'm going to go into the back of the two stitches, which can get a bit tricky, especially if you have a camera in your way. And go ahead and knit through the back of those stitches. There we go. And here's the point where you really need to tweak. Pull a bit. Pull down a bit. Make everything really nice. I'm going to knit a couple more stitches while I do that, and then show you what to do if you have some trouble still. Because you know what? The first few pairs I made, oh boy, lots of problems. But you know what? You learn and you go, and it gets easier and better. So then, once you have everything just right there, I'm just going to grab an extra needle that I have lying around here in the knitting bag, trusty old knitting bag. I'm going to take a look at the back of my work. And, oh yeah, okay, show you a little bit of a not so perfect looking short row. Go on in there with an extra needle and pull. Fix it a bit. Tighten the stitches right around that loosey-goosey stitch that maybe you're not so happy with. Pull around a little bit. And go ahead and get that slack to work through the rest of your work. And then it's almost like you're blocking as you're going. You know, here's another set of short rows. I'm going to fix that while I'm at it. Tweak them a bit. And guess what? You can keep doing that when you do your blocking. When I'm blocking my piece, if I get a little bit, here's a good example of when it's a little bit wonky. If it's a little bit leaning and a little bit, well, loose, I tweak it with that needle as well as I can, and then when I block it and wash it, pull and get everything just right so that those short rows look the way they should look. If you do a little tweaking on the back and a little bit of fixing it up as you are blocking your work, you'll be very happy with the result. And I think you'll hardly see them. And again, on Cascade 220, you're going to see them a whole lot more, especially if you're working with some sort of a light color and with a looser gauge, than if you were working with a nice, poofy, fluffy, forgiving one-ply, say Malabrigo or a one-ply pure wool or something like that, because that would hide your sins a bit more. And the one-ply and the colorway also would be very helpful that way also, if you have a colorway going through there to show you. So if you're still not happy with them, it might be the type of yarn that you've chosen, the thinness, the fact that it's not variegated, and the fact that it is not the 3-ply instead of the 1-ply. Okay, well, hopefully that helps, and I hope to make some more videos like this one. I hope that shows you a little bit about doing some short rows. Good luck and happy knitting. Bye.